You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Good morning, good evening, good night, whenever you're watching this.
Hold on. Do you know where you got that from?
Truman Show. Or something. Jim Carrey in the Truman Show says something similar. He says something like, "If I don't see you, like good morning, good evening, good night," something like that.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Yeah. So yeah, Truman Show. And I was just gonna say, so before I do the whole,
you be coming through with some nuggets, Kadeem. You like, for someone who don't watch movies, you come through sometimes, and it's like you never come through, but when you do, it's like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm a very stubborn person. So growing up, I wasn't a movie person, and then there were certain movies where if people are like, you have to go and watch that, I won't go and watch that just out of principle, which is why I haven't seen any of the Rocky movies, haven't seen any of the Indiana Jones movies. There's just some movies that I haven't seen.
Never seen Rocky?
No, although I do want to see the latest Creed movie. That does look pretty decent with Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. But that's more because he's got Jonathan Majors in it, and at the moment he's in everything. So. But before I was interrupted, and that voice you heard was my co-host Charlie Touche.
Oh my goodness.
That's definitely my thing now. But yeah. Share, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Again, so much going on over here at Go Time Dolphins. Not just ahead of season 4 of Go Time Dolphins, but just all year round. We don't take breaks. We keep on doing this. We don't do it daily yet, but listen, Go Time Dolphins is the place to be this summer, this autumn. You call it fall, don't you?
It's not fall over here, Kadeem. It's fall over there?
No, but I'm saying you call it fall. We call it autumn.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard anyone in a conversation setting call it autumn. Like it's fall. But last time I heard it used was like grade school, autumn. So I know people do call it autumn, but I've never been in a conversation where someone call it autumn.
That's understandable. But again, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see both of us. If you are listening on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your Go Time Dolphin podcast from, then yes, it is myself, Kadeem Simmons, my co-host Charlie Touche. I am not doing the intro. You have to wait until mid-March to see that. But Mr. Charlie Touche, how are you doing?
Bro, and we kind of going long now because it's the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond but across the world. But who's your wrestling Mount Rushmore, Kadeem? We definitely gonna get into the Dolphins, but I had to bring this up because I didn't know something. Like is Cody Rhodes related to Dusty Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes?
The Rhodes family, yes.
For real?
For real, like
is he called? He's named the American Nightmare.
American Nightmare, yeah.
And his granddad was the American Dream. Dusty Rhodes.
His dad.
His dad.
So his dad, yeah.
So Dustin and Cody are brothers.
Half brothers, yes, but they're brothers, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty dope, bro.
Yeah,
that's I see those that was. So yeah, Mount Rushmore. Who you got?
I'd probably go Edge, Right. Before I really dove into it, you won't hear Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Most of those, like, for one, I didn't think The Rock was a good wrestler. He was a great entertainer, but wrestler, no. And plus, I was really into like TNA, which is an alternative to WWE/WWF. So
Yep.
a lot of my favorite wrestlers are from TNA. So like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, they're on my Mount Rushmore. Edge is probably the only WWE wrestler I would have on there. And then I guess my fourth would be actually no, Shawn Michaels. I'd put Shawn Michaels on there.
All right, so give us the four again.
Edge, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Shawn Michaels. And I feel like I've just changed it since what I first said, but that's what I'm going for. Edge, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Shawn Michaels.
All right. I ain't gonna lie to you. I only know who Shawn Michaels is on that list, bro. So for that to be your Mount Rushmore, either I have absolutely no idea about wrestling, and I thought I had a pretty good foundation of wrestling growing up, or we just from two different countries. Who knows?
I would like to think you know who Edge is.
Edge?
So Edge, yeah. So if you think late 90s, early 2000s, do you know like the Dudley Boys?
Yeah, kind of.
Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
So those tag teams, you got the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian. They kind of like
this. It sounds familiar, but why is Edge on the Mount Rushmore?
When he split up with his kayfabe brother Christian and became a single star, I just found him really captivating.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't know. Now listen, being the resident wrestling guy, I'm not gonna push back too much on you, but I gotta believe that is it's your Mount Rushmore. But I'm just saying that can't be it. I'm going with Hulk Hogan. Although I like Macho Man more than I like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is on the Rushmore. I'm gonna go The Rock. If you smell what I'm cooking, I'm gonna go Stone Cold, and I'm gonna go Ric Flair. Now, if I was to take somebody off, I would take off Ric Flair and put Vince McMahon, because you don't necessarily have to be a wrestler to be on the wrestling Mount Rushmore. Because like I really, yeah. But anyway, hey, I guess we could continue this in the bonus time. But it's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond but across the world. I'm your boy Charlie Touche. I got my co-host Kadeem Simmons with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. And yeah, man, we was just chopping up a little bit about some wrestling stuff. But I had no idea I didn't even know who Cody Rhodes was. I heard his name, like, Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare. Like, he's got to be related. If not, that's like copyright infringement or something, man. But we got some news in the football world, Kadeem. And before we get into the hot topic, I seen something today that like piqued my interest. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And it was the top 10 receivers, top 10 free agents in the receiver position for the NFL this year. 2023 free agent wide receivers. And this is according to Catch the Blitz. And we'll go from 1 to 10. Odell Beckham Jr.
Sorry, you said Odell Beckham number 1. I'm like, sorry, what? Like,
bro, Odell Beckham. And if you could pull up your own list real quick, Kadeem, while I'm going through this, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we could cross-reference. But if you pull up just the top NFL wide receiver free agents this year. So Catch the Blitz has it: Odell Beckham Jr., Jacoby Myers, Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Shark, Mecole Hardman, Paris Campbell, Allen Lazard, Darius Slayton, Robert Woods, and Jarvis Landry. Top 10 free agent wide receivers. Were you able to pull up a list of top 10 or just top wide receivers, free agents?
So where did you get yours from, sorry?
Catch the Blitz.
Okay, PFF 3 days ago have wide receiver rankings. Who was number 2 on yours?
Jacoby Myers.
And number 3 was DJ Chark.
D3 was Juju Smith-Schuster.
Cool.
Give us what you got.
So PFF, their wide receiver rankings, free agency wise, Odell Beckham number 1, Jacoby Myers number 2, DJ Chark number 3, Juju Smith-Schuster number 4, Mecole Hardman number 5, and then it's got Paris Campbell 6, Alan Lazard 7, Marvin Jones 8, former Miami Dolphins Mac Hollins 9, Darius Slayton number 10.
Well, I brought that up to say this. Shout out to your boy Chris Greer. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is shout out to your boy Chris Greer. And I know Chris Greer get a bad rap sometimes, but for a football team to be in need of wide receiver, and we only had Jalen Waddle once upon a time as our wide receiver. It was just Jalen Waddle at wide receiver. To foresee how empty the cupboard was going to be in 2023 free agency and go ahead and spend that draft capital, bringing in Tyreek Hill, makes even more sense now. So for me to sit on the podcast and say, I don't want to spend move all these assets for a receiver that's going to get $30 million a year. Turns out we weren't going to get a receiver the year after that. If we look at this list again, we're going to get it. No, I feel you, because you can still make moves. You can still draft. Yeah, there's still things you can do for sure. But if you just look at the free agency list of this year, you telling me Jacoby Myers next to Waddle was going to be enough? You know what I'm saying? Or you could, man, I could go with 2 of these guys on this list, and it still wouldn't. We talking about Lamborghini receivers, Ferrari running back, and an Aston Martin quarterback, bro. None of these boys are Lamborghini receivers, bro. Once upon a time, Odell was a Lamborghini receiver. So Juju Smith-Schuster, Jacoby Myers, Mecole Hardman, Paris Campbell, Alan Lazard, Darius Slayton. Dog, in your list, Mac Hollins was on the list, bro. So, yeah, man. So, I just wanted to give Chris Greer a little more credit. Like, yo, to foresee this coming, shout out for getting us in the right spot, because now we have the best receiving core in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue with that. I still think we will need. It's weird. I think we need a wide receiver 3. But then it kind of goes back to when Hill and Waddle are your 1 and 2. Why would you kind of go to 3, if that makes sense? I think Miami need to find a way to get more receivers involved on a consistent basis. We should have targeted Mike Gesicki a lot more than we did. But then the flip side is, well, you have Hill and Waddle. So wide receiver 3 in Miami's scheme becomes kind of redundant, but it's good to have a reliable and good wide receiver 3. And Cedric Wilson in his first season in Miami underwhelmed, but I don't think that's quite his fault, if that makes sense.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. I kind of like the 1-2 combination. Like, either we're gonna kill you with the 1 or we're gonna kill you with the 2. So I don't mind. And even if we had a third receiver that was worthy of putting up 700 yards after the first 2 put up over 1,200, yeah, I'm all for it. But I don't mind it being the Waddle Tyreek Hill show. I really don't mind that. I think by design, the system is set up for it to be like you having a 1 or 2 receiver, and then having a tight end as an option, or the running game as an option. So I don't think, like some systems have, the more receivers you have, the more weapons you have, the more options you have at receiver. So yeah, I don't mind Trent Sherfield being the third receiver for the Dolphins, especially with how much he blocks and how much we use him in the blocking game. So I really don't mind that. I hope Eric Ezukama is coming along, because once you move on from Cedric Wilson and Trent Sherfield, because Trent Sherfield is a free agent now, you're going to have to pay him some type of compensation. Not saying you're going to give him an extended contract or a big contract, but you're going to have to pay him something, because you really need that dude. And if you're not paying Trent Sherfield, you're going to pay Craig Kraft 400. So yeah, man, I don't mind it, but we dodged the bullet in the receiving conversation. Speaking of conversations, though, Kadeem, it's a hot topic.
Before you get to the hot topic, very quickly, talking about free agents and stuff, did
Mhm.
you see what Zach Sealer's agent said?
I didn't. What we got?
So, Zach Sealer switch agent, I believe it was during the season. He's now with Drew Rosenhaus, who has a lot of top players. And I think when he made that switch, everyone was like, Zach Sealer's about to get the bag. And rightfully so. So Drew was talking about a number of different players, including Emmanuel Ogbah. Essentially said that he expects Emmanuel Ogbah to be back in Miami next year. They quite like him. Speaking about Zach Sealer, he said that'll be a project that will be working very hard on this offseason. It'd be important, I think, to the organization, obviously to Zach, that we get his contract in line with his play. So before I give my opinion on it, what do you make of it? And I'm happy to read it out again if need be.
Yeah, no, go. You can read it out.
So again, that will be a project that will be working very hard on this offseason. It'd be important, I think, to the organization, obviously to Zach, that we get his contract in line with his play.
Bro, me, you, and Kai Kid 305 had this conversation. It was, who are we going to keep? Shout out to Sherrod Steve. Dog gets a mention every episode. He's family here. Me and Sherrod Steve had this conversation as well. Are you going to keep Christian Wilkins and let Sealer walk? Or are you going to keep Sealer and let Wilkins walk? Because they're both nice. They're both dope linemen. They're both going to get paid. And we have them both on the contract. Unfortunately, you're not going to keep both of them because you have so many other needs on the team and other positions that you can pay. I was under the impression that we would just take the one who wanted less. Like, yo, this is a flea market. It's the bargain. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both good. Y'all are both super dope. Let's just take the one who wants to be here the most and take the less. Take the least amount of money. So I'm still on that. I'm still on. It seems as if Wilkins will get an extension. He was drafted here. He's a Miami Dolphin. He was drafted first round pick. Sealer came over from the Ravens and found a home here, which is dope. And even Sealer's backstory to that was he didn't even live here. He was living out of like a RV, didn't have a place to stay. And then he got signed and then he got comfortable. So you love to hear it. But this is a business. And for me, I'm just taking, hey, we're trying to go to the Super Bowl, numerous Super Bowls. We're trying to win numerous Super Bowls. So we're going to need help financially. Which one of y'all want to help us? It doesn't seem like that's how it's going to go. It looks like we're going to extend Christian Wilkins, give us some cap flexibility by extending them out. And I just think that money's going to go elsewhere. Other positions, it's not going to go all on the D-line. This is the writing on the wall for Raekwon Davis, though.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I think I like you, was under the impression we'd extend Wilkins, let Zach Sealer walk, because, like I said, he can't pay everyone. But what Drew said, and specifically when obviously he's asked about extending his stay in Miami, it kind of sounds like there's a possibility. Now, listen, there's always a possibility. That possibility might be you don't get paid as much as you would like. But I think your boy Chris Greer will find a way to keep both of them. It might be a case of saying to Sealer, listen, Wilkins is this year, we've got you next year. it might be a case of, knocking on a few doors and saying to other players, hey, we want to win a Super Bowl with all you guys in the building. Some of you guys might need to rework your contracts to allow some other guys to stay. So, please and thank you. I can't imagine Raekwon Davis gets an extension in Miami. But yeah, I came out of reading what Drew Rosenhaus said, or Rosenhaus, sorry, and feeling slightly optimistic that Chris Greer finds a way to keep both Watkins and Sealer. And if he does, I genuinely think we need to have a dedicated Chris Greer is elite episode once a year. If he manages to do that, I will come in with a conductor hat, or obviously I will come in a train job equivalent, which is below the conductor. If you allow me, maybe I drive the train, or maybe I work in a ticket office. I do something, and we just say Chris Greer is amazing. This is your episode, dude. We name all the amazing things he does. We ignore stuff like no ignoring in the first round, and we truly say that is blamed on Brian Flores, and we go from there.
You ain't gonna get no pushback from me. I promise you that. So, in the spirit of free agency and off-season acquisitions, you're just gonna get some type of conversation. You're gonna get some type of rumor. You're gonna get all kind of Miami won the offseason. I think out of the past 4 off seasons, Miami probably won 3 of them. You know what I'm saying? And it's a thing that we always do is win the offseason. This offseason, there has been a new rumor coming from PFF, and it is centered around the Miami Dolphins potentially trading for all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. I'm going to defer to you, Kadeem. When you first heard about it, when you first seen it, when you first, caught wind of it, what was your initial thought?
Quite a few things. One was, and it's not his fault. It genuinely is not this guy's fault. But if Noah Igbenogany panned out, I don't think this conversation happens. Again, if Byron Jones was healthy, I don't think this conversation happens. I would be more than okay of having Jalen Ramsey opposite Xavier Howard. Again, it's a lot of money tied up in the corner position, especially given that you're going to get rid of Byron Jones. But like we spoke about with Kevin Dern, if you haven't checked that episode, go check it out.
Shout out to Kevin Dern and Chloe.
100%.
Chloe and Kevin and Chloe.
Kadeko, whose best position probably is the slot. Byron Jones has no future in Miami, I don't think. I think you agree with that. And while we are huge fans of, I'm trying to think of a way to say he's a friend of the podcast, but you're not a friend of the podcast. Nearly friend of the podcast doesn't quite sound right. So maybe you should say friend of a podcast.
Friend of a podcast.
So friend of a podcast, Drew Williams.
Shout out to friend of a friend.
You just don't know what you're going to get with him. Coming off quite a serious injury. And plus, while we heard amazing things about him in free agency, during preseason last year during training camp, we never saw that translate onto the field due to no fault of his own. So to rely on Trill Williams as CB2 next year, to me, seems reckless. Being able to get Jalen Ramsey, I think it was for what, 100. Let me double check this. I don't want to get the numbers wrong. It's Jalen Ramsey with 3 years left on his contract.
55 million.
Yeah, that's like 18.3 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And I guess the worry would be Xavier Howard turns around and says, well, hold on,
Hey, I don't want to hear nothing about Xavier Howard. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear Xavier Howard say anything about anything ever again for the duration of his contract. I'm not here to get held hostage by Xavier Howard anymore. Like, bro, nah, Holmes, it's not happening. I'm not here for that. My bad. I hate to cut you off.
No,
but
it's fine.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say, you might get backlash from someone in the building, but I kind of ran along to essentially say I'd have Jalen Ramsey in Miami. I recorded a short on it yesterday. On one of the comments in the short, essentially said, no, they wouldn't bring in Jalen Ramsey because the Dolphins don't need man corners. But I think if you can have Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard, who excel in man but can both play zone, obviously, I think it's
people funny, bro. Like, bro, oh, he's a man corner. First of all, he's not as good as he used to be, Jalen Ramsey. He's been getting cooked lately. All right. Shout out to Blaine Griesek. He wrote this article. Pointed out how Ramsey allowed 12.7 yards of reception, which was the most since 2018. Gave up 7 touchdowns, and his passer rating was 98.6 when targeted, which was also his career high. Listen, Ramsey's nice. He is. He's a dog. He's a dog. But he's not as good as what he used to be. It benefits us, though, because we don't need him to be as good as he used to be. We just need him to be what he is now. And we're going to play a cover 2, basically a cover 2 scheme. And if you heard my little mini rant on Richard Sherman had Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas on top of him playing underneath in cover 3. Like, bro, anybody, I could suit up right now, Kadeem, where my pads at? I could do it right now with Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas behind me, bro. If you have Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard with Brandon Jones, friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, and friend of the podcast, Javon Holland behind you, you're straight forever and ever. Amen. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. I seen Jalen Ramsey play cover 2. And he'll pass it off to the safety, and I seen it twice. And it's not like I tuned into the Rams games. It was just whenever it was on, I seen it happening, and I didn't understand why it would happen like that. But it also always looked like Jalen Ramsey was getting beat in zone when actually it's like the safety. However, it was on the safety. But that being said, bro, you're gonna have elite corners. I don't use the word elite much on this podcast, bro. But you're going to have elite corners. The conversation is not, do you want Jalen Ramsey? It shouldn't be, do you want Jalen Ramsey on the team? Because you should want him. The conversation should be, what would it take to make this thing happen? Is it realistic? Is it a conversation? Would we consider it? Are we saying F those picks like the Rams did and won the Super Bowl? Because you mess around and bring in Jalen Ramsey, bro. If you don't make the Super Bowl, it's not even about, AFC Championship now. Nah, bro, you got to be in the game now. You got to be in the game. And then if you lose the game, it's like, hey, we got here. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jalen Ramsey don't get you, you eliminated the second round of the playoffs. Nah, you went out, you went in with Bradley Chubb. You brought in Jalen Ramsey. You built around Tua, Tyreek Hill. Nah, bro, this is it. Michael Jackson. The same way the Rams, Von Miller went to LA, and he was like, yo, this is like a Pro Bowl team out here. Yeah, bro, you got Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, Bradley Chubb, Teron Armstead, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Ningamanu, Olipola, Tunga Valoa. Like, bro, it's a Pro Bowl team over here. So you make a move for Jalen Ramsey, which is saying is, forget the future. The future is now. We're going in right now. We're not even thinking about building young talent later. We want to win today. And we'll talk about the compensation. This was reported. I wish I knew dude name from PFF.
That's Spielberger.
From PFF.
Yeah.
Mentioned that the compensation, and I do want to, I guess I I was gonna say preface, but we're deep into it now. So he said it would only take, and this is just him just saying this. This is nothing from the league. This is not the rumor that it's about to happen. It might happen. This is just someone saying, "Oh, this would be nice. This would be pretty interesting," and it caught fire, right? Because he's from a huge platform. So he said it wouldn't even take a one. It'll take 2 twos. And if you remember, Kadeem, I said I would move Xavier Howard for 2 twos. I like, bro, I don't need a one. Let me just get 2 twos for Xavier Howard. And it's funny that this is where we are a year or two later with Jalen Ramsey. Like, yo, it'll take 2 twos. Would you be open for the 2 twos, Kadeem? Like, yo, it's only 2 twos. We only got a 2 this year.
Well, that's the thing, and I think with so many conversations,
I'm sorry, we got a 2 and 2 threes, but
Yeah.
you know we got other late round picks, but anything of significance is a 2 and 2 threes.
Yeah. It's important to add as well in this scenario, the Dolphins get a 5th round pick back in 2023 as well. So, yeah, a second this year and a second next year. Again, which we had a first, not to give away, but a first would be amazing. But you look at the draft, and essentially it comes down to, can you get an elite corner in this year's draft in the second round? Probably not. Now,
hold on, King. You actually can, if you just pick up the phone and call Charlie Touche and say, bro, you've been hitting on corners your last 3 Touche's 24 lists. How do you do it? Matter of fact, let's pull up Charlie Touche's 24 list from the past 3 seasons and see what corners was on that list. My bad, Kadeem. Let's see what we got. 2020, what corner was on the Touche's 24 list? Oh, Cameron Dantzler. He's pretty good. Amik Robinson from the Raiders. He's all right. Not elite. Cameron Dantzler's dope. He's not elite. I'll give you that. Darnay Holmes. Okay. But those are the only corners. I got some safeties on here. Hold on. Some DBs. The safeties where I really hit that year. 2021 corner. Paulson Odebo. He was more like Xavier Howard. Gave up a lot of yards. I still like him, but I love this dude. Asante Samuel Jr. Touche's 24 list. Gotta love it. 2022 Kyer Elam. Buffalo Bill. He looks decent right now. Kyler Gordon. Bet you would love to have him right now. Marcus Jones, that went to the Patriots. Dope corner. Yeah, man. Cam Taylor Britt. My favorite corner, second favorite corner on my list, went to the Bengals, showed up this year. Look, we could get us a nice corner if we just holler at Charlie Touche and see who he got on this Touche's 24 list. But will it be elite? We don't, probably not in the first year. So you was right. My bad. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's yeah, it's essentially about what you can get in the second round. And if you think corner is probably your best bet, then yeah, can you find a great to elite corner in the second round? You probably can, but it means a lot of things happening to you. You also got to work out, well, how important is corner? Maybe you can find a tight end in the second round, which probably tight end is a much bigger need than corner. Can you find offensive line? You know, it all depends on where, you know, certain people fall to you. And I'm happy spending a second on Jalen Ramsey and a second next year. You probably will have to try and ship someone for an early day 2 pick. But, you know, Chris Greer has an excellent track record of drafting in the later rounds. And again, on the shorts video, and apology, I forgot the person who commented, they made a point that they wouldn't do it also because the Dolphins drafted friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, in the second round. And that's true. But the Dolphins also drafted Lee Meikenberg in second round very recently.
I could have swore, what's your boy, Hunter Long was somewhere around there too.
Hunter, I'm 99.9% sure Hunter Long was a second round pick as well.
Could have been the third round pick, but it was still, we missed some picks in the second round.
Third round. It was the third round.
Yeah.
We traded away a second round pick for Josh Rosen, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So the Dolphins don't have. And listen, not every team is going to bat 1,000 in second round, first round, all that kind of stuff. For every friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, there's a Josh Rosen, a Liam Eichenberg, and it's just about where this team is right now, and essentially needing to win in the next 2 to 3 years. You're much better off betting on Jalen Ramsey to come in and play in at a very good level at an absolute minimum than asking a rookie to come into the NFL, even in a very player friendly scheme, and hit the ground running. And again, it happens. It's just you can't afford to, in this Super Bowl window, take a chance on someone's second round. Now, I'm going to contradict myself and say, when you've got Xavier Howard on one side, friends of the podcast, Javon Holland and Brandon Jones behind you, and then the defensive line the Dolphins have, you probably could get away with, a second round corner on the other side. It saves money. It might allow you to go and get, an offensive lineman, a tight end in free agency. So I guess my question to you would be, would you rather go corner in the second round and someone like Pat Pete in free agency, or Jalen Ramsey, trade away the pick, and I guess someone else later on in the draft, I guess?
All right. So to answer that question, I would just go Patrick Peterson or someone like Patrick Peterson in free agency, and put Kader Kohu and Nick Needham in the slot. Like, I have them both still for depth. That way, if Pat P goes down or X goes down, we could bump Kader to the outside and keep Nick Needham in the slot. So I'm still bringing back Nick Needham. I'm still exercising Kader Kohu, but I'm still bringing in a vet because we got to win now. What the Miami Dolphins don't, and then I wouldn't even draft the corner in the second unless a corner fell to me in the second. Like, oh, we were lucky to have this guy here. That's cool. But what the Miami Dolphins don't do is start rookies. They don't do it. We never do it, bro. If you look at Jalen Phillips, he was rotational player when he was a rookie, and everybody's like, hey, where's Jalen Phillips at? Yeah, he played, but he wasn't the starter, right? If you look at Javon Holland when he came in, friend of the podcast, bro, Javon Holland played behind one of the McCourty brothers. You know what I'm saying? And he probably wouldn't even played if he didn't get hurt. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, you can start Holland. Look at what Jerry Chin did. Look what Antoine Winfield Jr. did. And I was on this podcast like, bro, how come we not starting these people? So we ended up starting him, and he was a gem. So the Dolphins just don't do it. We just don't start rookies like that. So yeah, I really would like to find a rookie to start him, but then we left the most important part out. You got to find the right one. Exactly. You got to draft the right one. So I'm not sold on. I think you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think you got to be all in or not. So if you're all in, a second round pick, whoever you draft in the second round this year, is not gonna be a crucial piece on this team this year for this Super Bowl run. Whoever you pick in the second round next year will not be a crucial piece on that team to win that Super Bowl in that season. So if you trade both of those twos and you bring in someone like a Jalen Ramsey, he will be a crucial piece to win, to get us to both of those Super Bowls. So it just depends it just depends on what you want to do. And I want to be very clear. I'm not beating the drum for this. I'm not planting the flag. This is not the hill I want to die on. I'm not dying on the Jalen Ramsey hill. But but I would do this. I would do Jalen Ramsey for 2 twos. If you look at LA, their picks, they just won the Super Bowl. They're notorious for going all in multiple times, getting multiple bites at the apple, and we can't even get a whiff of the apple. We can't even get the apple in our sights. You know what I'm saying? And here the Rams go. I feel like they've been to 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the past 15 years. Maybe it was just 2 and 5, but it seems like more than that. Their picks this year, because they always trade their first round picks. They got a second round this year, a third round, 4 6s, and 2 7s. So moving Jalen Ramsey would give them an additional 2 this year and an additional 2 next year, and it gives them something to play with. What we can do is we can also move a couple pieces, like we think we're going to move a couple pieces. Hopefully, we get a minimum of a 5th round pick back for Cedric Wilson. Maybe you have to move. You might have to cut Byron Jones, bro. You might have to cut him. I doubt you're going to trade him. So all that, if you look at the machinations of Jalen Ramsey's contract, it's 3 years, $55 million. 3 years, $55 million, $12 million guaranteed. And this is why this could work. Because he's going to want new guarantee money. And what you can do is you can restructure, still have him for the 3 years, give him more guaranteed money, and you can set it up like the Cedric Wilson contract. It's 2 years guaranteed, and the 3rd year is not guaranteed, and you can cut him after we win a Super Bowl within these next 2 shots that we got. So you can get out of this contract. I think Jalen Ramsey is going to come in and play better than Xavier Howard. So this is a no-brainer for me. I would trade absolutely 2 twos to make this thing happen.
I think as well, it's important to note that this isn't, a early day 2 pick. Also, early 2nd round pick. It's pick 51. You're kind of nearing the end of the 2nd round, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking, and again, the Dolphins will probably go best player available. But in terms of positions of need and the way the draft, I'm gonna say like 85% of the time usually falls. Are you going to be able to find, your guy at tight end, corner, offensive line, running back? Probably not. Those guys are probably gone. Yes, you can move up to go and get someone, but the Dolphins don't have the draft picks to really move up and do much. And if anything, now this is me playing Madden, ideal situation. There's no reason why you can't trade your 2 seconds and then use your 2 thirds to move back up into the 2nd round. Like,
that's very good, bro. And that's not even Madden, because 2 threes equal a 2. And the 2 that we have, in my mind, I'm moving up anyway. We're going to have a 2, which is what, 51?
51.
And then you have a 3, and you trade that up to get up even further into the 2nd round. So 2 threes equal a 2-2. That's astute assessment, Kadeem.
So it might be a case where the Dolphins and your boy Chris Greer, and again, I think it's very important to add as well, like you said earlier, this isn't something which might happen. It's a writer has proposed this idea. So he's saying it will take 2 twos. The Dolphins might be able to get it for less. Right? Obviously, it's unlikely.
Shut up.
But if the Rams are going, you know what, we're blowing it up and we need to get back picks, Jalen Ramsey, given his contract, we need to move on from him. Miami say, hey, we can offer you this. Maybe you send a player in return. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but you say, hey, listen, we'll give you a 3rd, take this player, and even a 2nd next year. Chris Greer, I have faith in Chris Greer in being able to get Jalen Ramsey for less than 2 twos. Very quickly, I was looking at the cornerbacks in free agency this year, and I'm going to play a game with you. Would you take this person over Jalen Ramsey? So number 1 on this list, PFF's list, is Jamar Dean from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Jalen
Ramsey. Number 2, James Bradbury from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bro, I don't even think there's nobody on this list that I would take over Jalen Ramsey. But because I think I kind of know the list, but I'll play along. Let's go. Jalen Ramsey.
Cameron Sutton from the Steelers.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jonathan Jones from the Patriots.
Jalen Ramsey.
Pat Pete from the Vikings.
Jalen Ramsey.
Watkinson from the Raiders.
Jalen Ramsey.
Byron Murphy Jr. from the Cardinals.
I like Murphy Jr. Jalen Ramsey.
Marcus Peters from the Ravens.
Never Marcus Peters. Never.
And that's the list. So again, you're looking at it going, if you can get Jalen Ramsey over most of those guys, the only one I would probably look at would be Pat Pete. Maybe Byron Murphy Jr. because of the age. But outside of that, it's like, give me Jalen Ramsey all day long.
Bro, I mean, Pat Pete, he got miles on the tires, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is just, Pat Pete is perfect for us right now. and you don't have to spend 2 on him. So that's perfect. I feel you. But Pat P isn't we're going to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Pat P come to this team, it's not we're going to the Super Bowl. Jalen Ramsey come to this team, it's we're going to the Super Bowl. Didn't even need Vic Fangio. Like straight up. So I feel you. I understand you got to spend compensation if you're talking about Jalen Ramsey, but I got something for you, Kadeem. You ready?
I'm always ready.
Already.
I should have done a DX. Are you ready? Damn. DX, D-Generation X.
Yeah, I know who it is.
So making sure.
You remember 1, 2, 3 Kid?
Any various names, Sean Waltman, X-Pac.
Yeah. All right. I just remember as X-Pac and 1, 2, 3 Kid. 1, 2, 3 Kid before the most.
Yeah, he was.
Anyway, speaking of kids, Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, quarterback for the USC Trojans, came out and said, if there's a team I could play for, it'll be the Dolphins. Let's get the exact quote. I'd probably go to the Dolphins. I also would be able to play with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki. The defense isn't bad. That's probably my number one spot. All right. Let's break this thing down. Good in. Before we break down the quote, Caleb Williams, this is not news because Caleb Williams said this. It's news because Tyreek Hill liked it. Did you know that, Kadeem?
Yeah, and I don't even think that's news.
So yeah, so if we're playing news or noise, it's just noise. It's not news at all.
Yeah, because people took this as, it's Tyreek Hill saying he wants this guy to replace Tua. I saw it as this guy mentioned playing with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's like, I'm nice. Of course you want to play with me. No. That's how I took it. Like, again, in the nicest possible way, yeah. Tyreek Hill will want to win another ring in Miami. He knows that it probably won't be with Caleb Williams. Like, that's just not going to happen. Tyreek Hill has spent the last nearly 12 months hyping up Tua to a level where Chiefs fans were like, he's just saying it, blah, blah. He's not going to jump off that cliff head first into rocks after his best year in terms of like wide receiver rating and yards and all that kind of stuff, and go, do you know what? Give me an unproven rookie. Like, no, he's not going to say that. Like, it's noise. If anything, the news is what Mike Gesicki said, and that's just a bit of fun.
So let's get to what Mike Gesicki says. So Caleb Williams says this, like, oh yeah, I want to go to Miami, play with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, and then Mike Gesicki, shout out to friend of the podcast, Javon Holland actually gets on the Mike Gesicki tweet and laughs and throws emojis out there. It's a pretty good follow. Mike Gesicki says, Caleb, they tell you I'm staying with the Dolphins through 2024. I'm just trying to figure out what I should do with this my condo lease. Like, help me out, bro. That's exactly what Mike Gesicki says outside to help me out, bro. But he says, yeah, did they tell you I was gonna stay here? Because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my condo. Is like, Mike Gesicki like the best ever, bro?
100%. Like, it's fun, it's great, and listen, this is quarterbacks in college and even around the NFL going, I want to do what's best for me. And playing with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, and Mike McDaniel as your head coach, what quarterback wouldn't want to be, in Miami right now? Like, and again, let's be honest, if we're really going to, if people think that Tyreek Hill liking it is news, then spin it the other way and say Caleb Williams is essentially saying the Dolphins are going to have a top 5 pick, maybe number 1 pick, and that's there's two ways he ends up in Miami. The first is that the Dolphins have number 1 pick in the NFL, in the NFL draft in 2024, maybe 2025 if he stays at USC for another year, or he falls to like the 7th round and the Dolphins draft him to back up Tua. like, dude, if the Dolphins have Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki in the scenario, and Tyreek Hill, and end up with the first overall pick, and it's theirs, something's gone wrong. Something's gone horribly wrong. Like, that's how bad it's going to be. This isn't one of those years where the Dolphins have like Houston's pick or the 49ers pick. Listen, if the Dolphins end up with the number 1 pick, Go Time Dolphins are going to be the worst of all time, because we're going to be here every single week going, what's gone wrong? What's gone wrong? Like, seriously, dude. So, Caleb Williams, listen, I would love to see you in Miami, because when you're the 7th round pick and you're backing up Tua, and the only time you're throwing to Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Mike Gesicki in the next 10 years is on Madden. Let's be honest.
Bro. Listen here, Caleb Williams. The Dolphins are going to be picking in the 30s when the draft comes up next year, if you come out next year. Matter of fact, the next 2 years that you might come out, we're picking in the 30s, bro. So you're not coming to Miami. This is the pipe dream of every college player, is to play in the Sunshine State on the beach of Miami. Like, yeah, everybody wants. We just talked about a allure of Miami. Everybody wants to come to Miami. So yeah, you got the best receiving core in the league. I would like to think any quarterback would say, "Oh, I would love to play in Miami with that." Yeah, that track team, of course. But nah, bro, this is a pipe dream, bro. But and like, Kadeem, you just said it, bro. If the Dolphins have first of all, even if we did have the number 1 pick, it wouldn't be ours, would it? Do we have a first round pick? Oh, we do have a first round pick next year, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we got a first round pick next year, 2024. Yeah. But bro, the Dolphins pick first overall. I ain't gonna lie, it might not even be a Go Time Dolphins. You said we're gonna be sour here on Go. It might not even be a Go Time Dolphins, bro. If the Dolphins pick first overall next year.
Listen, in terms of content, it would be like amazing, but I ain't trying to do amazing content every single year. Like,
bro,
listen.
Hold on. How will the content be amazing if we had the first pick overall next year?
Just for the anger alone, that'd be quite interesting.
No.
Like, watch that. Listen, watching us get angry, some people might enjoy that. But then, in terms of
if the Dolphins have the first round pick first overall next year, the content before that content would be horrid. It would be like, yo, it would be the equivalent. I don't even want to say how bad it would be, bro. Like every episode, we got to come on and talk about losing again with this. No way.
Actually, in saying that though, it will get to a point where we're out of the playoff race, and we'll probably go, you know what? I want the first overall pick. Like, give it to me, because, like, again, don't do a situation where, you know, the Dolphins under Brian Flores are trying to get the first round pick and then start winning games. Like, listen, don't do that to me. Like, don't do that again. But listen, we turn every loss into a fun episode at some point. Like, we have embarrassing losses, and by the end, we're both laughing to going, you know what? That's just what we do. And in terms of great content, imagine the guests we can get on in terms of, you know, Ollie from PFN, Charlie Wilson, so many draft people to talk about, hey, which quarterback could we take? Like, to me, that'd be quite fun. I just ain't trying to see it.
Nah. So what is it gonna be? Like colliding for Caleb? Like
crashing for Caleb.
Crashing for Caleb.
Crashing for Caleb. I know what I ain't trying to see that hashtag. I do not want to see crashing for Caleb. I ain't trying to see Caleb.
Oh man. Listen. Javon Holland giveaway. Got a game worn Javon Holland gloves. Giving it away. Tune in to the live episode March 15th. new league year. We'll get a time out there. I guess we'll throw a time out there when we figure out what time we're going live. But yeah, we're going to start going live this year, this season. It's the beginning of season 4 for Go Time Dolphins, man. Come on over to bonus time with us. We got some more we're going to top up. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
As always, I had something I wanted to talk about and completely forgot what it was. So
I got something.
hit me.
Former Miami Dolphin defensive coordinator Vance Joseph becomes the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. And it's funny because we were sitting here talking about Vic Fangio probably wouldn't go back to Denver because he just left Denver as a head coach. Turns out Vance Joseph just left Denver as a head coach and still ended up as the DC in Denver as a defensive coordinator with what's your boy name? Sean Payton over there.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to throw it out there that it's funny how we were talking about Fangio, but we could go back to this Mount Rushmore of yours for the wrestling Mount Rushmore, bro.
Before we get there, I remembered what I wanted to say. So Titans, and I think he's the left tackle, Taylor Lewan, just been released or is about to be released by the Titans. Would you have him in Miami?
I don't know him to play any right tackle. Here's my thing. We were talking about Saquon Barkley, and there's so many things that you can do in free agency. It's like you have to see what happens. And my thing is, if Orlando Brown, for whatever reason, doesn't figure it out in KC, if they don't figure it out over there, this is what needs to happen. The Dolphins need to say, bro, we know you didn't want to play right tackle in Baltimore and you went to KC. You got traded to KC to play left tackle. Do you not want to play right tackle because you want to get paid like a left tackle? Because if that's the case, we can pay you as a left tackle and play you at right tackle, bro. There's a world, Kadeem, where KC says, we're full. We just got our Super Bowl. We don't have to pay this guy. We traded for him. We lost a couple picks for him, but we just won the Super Bowl. Let's build up a different way. There's a world where KC does say that. And if that happens, Orlando Brown needs to play right tackle for the Miami Dolphins. Because then by the time Teron Armstead expires, we could just move him over to left tackle. And now you still have your franchise tackle on the team. So I need to see what happens with Orlando Brown first. He'll probably get tagged or signed. Then I need to see what happens to Mike McGlinchey, right tackle for San Fran. Taylor Lewan got some miles on his tires, and he's a left tackle. So I don't know what you do with Lewan. Play him at guard. If I don't know what his size is, his willingness, his agility anymore. I would have to look into that. But as of right now, I don't think so.
He's so injury prone. Like people, and again, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but given how injury prone he is, to play my right tackle is like, and again, in the nicest way possible, the Dolphins, like we all know Teron Armstead plays through injuries, but we know he's going to be missing quite a few times, over the course of the season. Friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson, picks up one too many injuries for my liking. So the Dolphins could essentially get into a situation like they did last year, where the backup right tackle goes down. So the starting right tackle goes down, the backup right tackle goes down, the guy they bring in off the street to play right tackle, he goes down, and it's just like I'm not trying to see that. So Taylor Lewan, there's a reason why the Titans released him. Yes, he might have some talent left, but those injuries kind of make it so where he's not really going to go elsewhere and get a lot of money. He might be someone you bring in camp and kind of see what he looks like, and he might earn a contract, but outside of that, Taylor one, thanks but no thanks.
Whew, thanks but no thanks. Hey, Florida just passed a bill that would prevent dogs from hanging out of the windows of cars.
I can kind of see why, but I think that's something that needs to be a bill that needs to be passed. It sounds kind of like we have better things to be focusing on, but I don't live in the States and I'm not a dog person. So,
but I never heard a issue. Never heard, not once, like something happened with a dog hanging out of a window. I could be wrong, but that's how I see a dog, bro. Like when the dog is in the car, the dog is hanging out the window with his tongue out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like that's like what are you talking about? Nah, bro. That's not the world I'm trying to live in, bro. I'm not even a dog person, but that's not the world I'm trying to live in.
I can imagine somewhere in the States a dog died tragically, having to let out the window, and it's like just no, like I just don't see why I need to pass the ball to do that. So
I can understand that, but you know what? I say this all the time, Kadeem. We're probably in here, but you know how they say no texting and driving. Texting and driving is dangerous. All the good stuff is illegal. You get a ticket for it. All the good stuff. But you know what's more dangerous than texting and driving?
Changing the radio station and driving,
eating and driving, bro. I be on my, you know what I'm saying, trying to dip my nuggets into the sauce, staring with the wheel. You know what I'm saying, like, bro, it gets bad. Like, how come people can eat and drive, but we can't text and drive? That's crazy to me.
What sauce do you get with your nuggets?
Don't worry about that.
Why is that a controversial question? Like,
I'm just saying, like, you know what Polynesia sauce is?
I know of it. I've never had it before.
So that's not my thing, but I seen someone said Paul and Nisha. They call it Paul and Nisha sauce. Polynesia. Polynesia.
Right.
Oh no, man. So yeah, if I'm at Chick-fil-A, it's Chick-fil-A sauce. And if I'm at Wendy's, it's honey mustard. But I don't even eat too much fast food. Oh,
very quickly, I've got a question for you, and it's only for you because you are a UFC guy.
Let's do it.
Who would win between 10 UFC heavyweight fighters and a silverback gorilla bear or gorilla? Sorry,
10 heavyweight UFC fighters or one silverback
gorilla. Yeah,
it's the gorilla. It's the gorilla, bro. I seen some on Instagram, and this is good. And we'll try to get it up for this edit. So hey, y'all share, like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Turn on notifications. We got some dope chop ups and edits for YouTube watchers. But listen, I seen some on Instagram where there's a gorilla walking through like the jungle, and it was like some type of tour. And there's a cameraman, and there's like a spotter, like next to the cameraman, and it was probably 2 or 3 people. You can imagine, like, just people on a tour. And the gorilla was walking, and he looked at the spotter, and he grabbed the spotter, and he started dragging the spotter, and he dragged him like 5 feet and just let him go. And the spotter was like, and then the title is, here's a reminder from a gorilla that I could kill you at whenever I wanted to. And he just dragged him like it was just nothing. And it wasn't like he ran with it. He just, yo, hey, follow me real quick. He just pulled his leg and then let him go. Gorillas, man. Yeah, man. They huge, powerful.
You like 10 UFC fighters can try and like bum rush it. Listen, you're just getting swatted like flies. Just move from me. Yeah. Move from me. Like it's
yeah.
Yeah.